Yo, what up, YouTube? What's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Who's the Master?
Oh, you know what? I might have a little something here for you.
Okay. Let's do this. Welcome back to another episode of Who's the Master?
Oh, yes. We're going to get better at that. I promise, guys. We just, we're winging it as much as we can to try to perfect it better and better every show.
Yeah, guys, you know what? It's all about the participation trophy. That's why you're here, right? We will get better at it, though. We promise.
Sorry for the delay, too, guys.
Yeah, listen, man. Windows update hells over on Bobby's computer. I don't know.
I'll take the blame for it.
It's not his fault, though. Yo, Windows, why you got to have massive updates that take 2 hours?
Seriously. I mean, I started it at like 1 something, and now that's why I posted that thing. I got stuff going on, and we'll do it at 4, and then here we go. Sorry, Debbie, we're starting at 4:40.
Yo, I got here. Bobo and I are doing it together. I got here, and we waited around forever for that thing to continue, and I can attest, it just kept dragging. The worst thing about it is it's not like you ever know going into the update whether this is going to be a big one or whether it's going to be a quick one. You know, it's just like my sex life.
Yeah.
It can be either or, right, ladies?
Yeah, sometimes I hear that, like I'll be in the middle of sex thinking I got like at least 30 more minutes, and then you hear that,
Yeah.
oh, it's
over.
updated.
Yeah.
But now I'm single and had no one to have sex with while I was waiting hours.
Yeah, exactly. And you always know it's over because just like my sex life, the Windows Update music plays.
Yeah, that'd be awesome if that was really the situation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's over. All right. Man, so we got a lot to talk about again today, mainly because DCU, the DCEU, whatever you want to call it, is the gift that keeps on giving. It feels like we've been milking the same story for several days, and we have yet another update on Patty versus James. I feel like that is a sitcom that Bobo would watch.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a great one already, especially just from this pic right here.
Yeah. It's a younger James, but a lot more angry James. I guess that was like during his Twitter days when he would tweet about,
Which, by the way, I love you, James. I'm not talking shit at all, but he was dyeing his hair for a while, right? Because that was just a quick shift to the silver fox.
I don't know. He might have been.
Let me try to find this out. I mean, like, that's a quick switch to the silver fox because he's not older in the face, really.
Yo, yeah. Bobo might have caught something on here. Looks like Bobo was trying to start some smoke with James Gunn, too.
No, I don't think. It's like the Johnny Knoxville deal.
Maybe
I think it's like he just showed up one day.
You out him as a Just for Men's client.
That's right. Hey, I'm also, a client. I'm a member myself, so.
Not me, man. Luckily.
Yeah, you were blessed.
Yeah.
You have thick hair.
I do. My beard's super gray, though. But let's go ahead and move back to the matters at hand. So let's read the part of the statement from Patty. Now, she likes her statements, man. This is a long statement, so we're going to try to cut out some of the fluff here, but let's go ahead and give it a shot here. Sigh. All right, first of all, if you start your statement out with sigh, I already hate you. Yeah. I'm not one to talk about private career matters, but I will not allow inaccuracies to continue. Here are the facts. I originally left Rogue Squadron after a long and productive development process when it became clear it couldn't happen soon enough, and I did not want to delay Wonder Woman 3 any further. When I did, Lucasfilm asked me to consider coming back to Rogue Squadron after Wonder Woman 3, which I was honored to do, so I agreed. They made a new deal with me. In fact, I am still on it, and that project has been in active development ever since. Now, I don't know when it will happen or not. We never do until the development process is complete, but I do look forward to its potential ahead. When there started being backlash about Wonder Woman 3 not happening, the attractive clickbait false story that it was me that killed it and walked away started to spread. This is simply not true. I never walked away. I was open to considering anything asked of me. It was my understanding that there was nothing I could do to move anything forward at this time. DC is obviously buried in changes they are having to make, so I understand these decisions are difficult right now. She goes on to say that everything is kosher between her and James Gunn, and then she goes and blows smoke up the ass of Linda Carter, etc., and talks about how wonderful the creative process was. James Gunn would follow that up with a tweet saying, I can attest that all of Peter and my interactions with you were pleasant and professional. So, Bobo, let me ask, do you think that this was just a bunch of smoke, or are Patty and James blowing smoke about being all about the smoke?
Yeah, that's a mouthful right there.
Right, it's all about smoke.
I definitely think that Patty is upset that she's not doing Wonder Woman 3.
Mhm.
I think that that's definitely there.
Okay.
I think you can kind of hear that in the letter. And first off, I'm not here to like dog or hate on either side of this because I really
That's
don't
what
have
I'm
any
here
qualms
for.
with them. Yeah, that's what Anshul's always here for.
Yeah. I'm about that smoke, you too.
Yeah. But I definitely do think that she's not really a part of DC anymore at all. Like, I think moving forward, James Gunn is being nice. I wouldn't be surprised if they're actually cool in real life. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of these people, at the end of the day, business is business, and they're not going to be mean to each other behind the scenes like that, especially if they're both getting gigs and they're both doing well for themselves. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I do think that it very much James Gunn is like, no more Patty Jenkins Wonder Woman.
Yeah, it's very possible that he just watched Wonder Woman 1984 like the rest of us when we were in the middle of a pandemic, and he was like, oof. Rough,
just
buddy.
Like everybody felt. Golly,
Yeah.
I mean, that movie, I remember never mind, not even gonna go on it. Yeah, but fail. It was a fail.
It was trash.
I don't say that about many movies, but that one is full trash. Like, the only thing that's even redeeming about it is Pedro Pascal. But then when you realize what he's acting about as far as this stupid plot with this wishing stone, like, then you're like, all right, sorry, Pedro, you lost.
Yeah, no, it's funny that the entire plot of the movie is basically When I Wish Upon a Star.
Golly, man. Just it talk. You know how people want to go back and forth with Back to the Future and time travel and things like that? Dude, this one is the king of trying to find the loopholes and where the loopholes stop. You know what I mean?
Is it the worst third act in the history of superhero movies?
Pretty bad, dude. Like, the whole cheetah thing, like, what the hell? First off, didn't even make sense for the character. The character was totally like, what are you doing? And then all of a sudden this happens. What? There's no, like, at least with Green Goblin, we understood what this serum would do.
Yeah.
There was no explanation on why this really happened this way.
Yeah, no. Yeah, why she becomes a cheetah.
Yeah, it's like, what?
She wished to become Wonder Woman, and they were like, cool, fam, we'll make you a cheetah. What?
It was so stupid.
Why cheetah? You know, why not a lion? I don't get it.
Or why not just another strong woman? Why turn into an animal?
Yeah, this wishing stone's got problems. Get a refund on this wishing stone because it clearly.
Well, and look, like I said before, you know, you had this costume right here that, like, it's like you're thinking when you see it in the trailer or in the poster, even, you're like, okay, maybe that'll look pretty cool. And then you see the picture of it, and I thought I had another picture of it pulled up, but when she's actually standing there in the film at the moment where she pops on the screen, it looks so silly.
Yeah, and she puts on that costume and then she gets her ass whipped in that costume.
By cheetah.
That costume was so worthless. It's the most worthless costume ever. We got some comments.
He says Wonder Woman 84 felt like Superman 3. Not sure where they were trying to go, but it didn't work. Yeah, you're right about that.
Yo, I would put Superman 3 above Wonder Woman 84.
For sure.
At least we got Superman versus Superman. When we were kids, that scene was lit. You know what I'm saying?
No, you're right about that. Superman 3 is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Compared to this.
We get to watch Clark Kent beat down Superman. You know, like that scene was fire back in the day.
Yeah.
It doesn't hold the test of time now, but back then it was fire.
No, you're right.
Yeah, man, that's interesting. So
is Wonder Woman exhausted with audiences, you think?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think obviously the character still has a lot of potential because I think Wonder Woman, the original Wonder Woman, and is still fresh on everybody's mind. I think most people enjoy that movie. I personally think it's slightly overrated, but that does not mean I did not enjoy it. I enjoyed watching it. I just don't think it was worthy of all the praise that it got. But I think people still love Gal Gadot. She's still got the star power. Wonder Woman's still a valuable IP, right?
Very much so. And Gal, I love her. I mean, and look, she was better in this movie as Wonder Woman than she was in the first movie. But it's just the movie itself was just terrible.
She's a much better actress in this version. You could tell she felt more comfortable in the role.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
So yeah, I think that Wonder Woman's still got legs, no pun intended. But it's gonna take a good script this time around. I don't think Patty Jenkins really has a good track record when you come down to it.
I agree, man. I don't think that. I feel like if it is stale as it got with Wonder Woman 1984 compared to the first Wonder Woman movie, I can't imagine the staleness this third one would have. And look, one of the things that I love about Jon Favreau as a filmmaker, creator, director, everything, he's very aware when it's time to go. Like, when Iron Man 3, he was offered Iron Man 3, and he was like, he admitted, I feel like that I already was running out of steam with Iron Man 2, and I feel like I have nothing left to offer this character. It's better to just hire someone else. And that's the smartest move they could have made, because Iron Man 2 was losing steam off
then
the
they
first
hired
one.
Shane Black.
Yeesh. But look, okay, there's parts of those movies that work, but then it's like, wait a minute, all of a sudden anybody can just fly the suit now? What the hell? I don't like that.
Yeah, Shane Black, he's a guy that likes to be more clever than he actually needs to be.
We'll do an Iron Man 3 discussion one day for sure.
Yeah, well, I would say this, though. Speaking of on what you just said, who are some female directors you think could step in to Patty Jenkins' shoes?
You know, we were mentioning this just a little earlier. I think for me, the one that I feel could bring the depth and seriousness that I would like to see with this character, I think a director like either Chloe Zhao or Nia DaCosta. And look, so let's first off get this out of there. It's going to be a female director because they're wanting to have that whole presence with this film as far as the cast, the people behind the camera,
right.
Things like that. That's part of this, and I'm fine with that. Nia DaCosta, she did the Candyman reboot. I thought she did a phenomenal job. You can tell she's got directing talent for sure. And I think that Chloe Zhao, I liked Eternals. I think that you and I have maybe more of an attachment to that story than a lot of other people do as far as just casual movie watchers.
Straight up.
But I do think that Chloe Zhao did a good job.
Okay, what about, you mentioned her. I'm surprised you didn't bring her up. And I can't wait to hear what the comments have to say about this girl, Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah, I did mention her earlier, but I will say this. In hindsight, I do think that she would keep too much of a humor involved with Wonder Woman, which I don't want to see.
Yeah, listen, also, I think she's showing Charlie's Angels. She can't handle the topic of feminism with any sort of nuanced take, right?
Mm-hmm.
She beats people over the head with it. And Wonder Woman is a superhero, and she's got mass appeal to more than just women. And so I think that could be a very dangerous take on the character that would drive people away. And that's not what I would go for. Now, she's got talent, I think, as far as the art of filmmaking. I don't know. I'll lean on you more for that than maybe my own opinion, since you're the filmmaker. But I don't think she's a bad filmmaker per se. I think she's just bad at plotting out and planning out a movie.
I think, I think that she's definitely got talent as far as production company wise, even behind the camera. I think Cocaine Bear looks like it's going to be good.
Yep.
But also, if somebody like said, hey, I love Wet Hot American Summer and I also can't wait to see Cocaine Bear, well, that kind of makes sense because both of them are sort of ridiculous.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, and she was responsible for a lot of the stuff behind the scenes of Red Hot American Summer and all that other stuff that came after with that little comedy troupe. And so she does have talent. But I know I said that first off about her doing Wonder Woman, but now, like in hindsight, after you said a couple things, that's like, nah, maybe I'm not going to go that. I don't know if she'd be the good choice. I think you need somebody who's going to take bring some seriousness to the character.
Okay, well, what about the comment section? Let us know if you have any ideas who should direct. Maybe you want a male director. Maybe you're not about that female stuff. So, yeah, let us know in the comments. So we'll be happy to read those comments and take that into consideration. Can't promise you James Gunn will, but hey, at least we'll talk about it.
Let me just say,
we got any good comments that have been posted that we want to read off before we get to the next story?
I didn't see anything, man. We just had this last one with WW84. That was it. So I didn't see anything else.
Okay, cool. Well, let's talk about, when we're talking about hearsay, there's more hearsay going out there that's got the internet abuzz. Okay, and then that has to do with another movie that Bobo and I think is slightly overrated. Most people disagree with. So that's The Batman, and that is the actor Robert Pattinson and his portrayal as Batman. Not bad, but not great in my opinion. However, there were rumors floating around the internet all this morning that James Gunn was considering bringing in Robert Pattinson's Batman into the main DCEU somehow, some way. Now, James Gunn recently sent out a tweet saying that is, in fact, false. He shut down those rumors. With that being the case, Bobo, what would your thoughts be if they did decide to bring Pattinson's Batman, Pat, as I like to call him, into the main DC universe?
Pattinson.
Oh, that's much better, actually.
I think it would be terrible. I hate it. I hate any sort of, like, first off, we already have talked about sort of our disappointments with the Batman, but it just doesn't belong in the DCEU, especially with this little colorful side they've been trying to lean more towards with the DCEU. Like, yes, Zack Snyder had his darkness, but for the most part, they've sort of tried to go for more of like a bright-ish vibe. And with the Batman can be completely separate from that. they just don't need to do it. The Suicide Squad, this last one was, kind of goofy. The Peacemaker, it has like it is more serious than the Peacemaker, but it still has that funny kind of goofball tone some of the time. But I don't think that the Batman crossing over with that is going to be anything that would connect. You know what I mean? It just would feel so out of place. Same thing with the Joker. So,
it would feel out of place, and also would feel boring because Robert Pattinson's Batman was boring,
especially as Bruce Wayne, dude.
Oh my God, that movie, just so much boredom going on in that movie. It's too slow, too much about the detective work. I told Bobo this. Maybe I've said this on this channel. I would have liked the movie fine if it wasn't trying to be Seven, because then it kept reminding me of Seven, and it's a much worse version of Seven.
Yeah, they got caught in their own trap that they lost themselves in the whole, like, let's make it Seven. And it's like, well, remember, you're making a Batman movie too.
Right. Like the Riddler would have been great. Everybody raves about the Riddler, but I kept seeing Kevin Spacey's villain from Seven in that role, and that character is way better than the Riddler. Yeah. Right? That performance is way better than the Riddler. I know Kevin Spacey, controversial figure, but that's probably his greatest role. Let's be honest.
Everybody don't act like that you didn't love Kevin Spacey in Seven and in House of Cards until all the shit happened.
Exactly. So, yeah, man.
And look, and I'm going to say it too about Paul Dano. I love the guy, and I do think he's a fantastic actor. But I just thought it was okay. Yeah. It was okay. Not bad. I wasn't like, oh, man, what are you doing? But I wasn't. And was I comparing it to Heath Ledger a little bit and Tom Hardy? Maybe. Maybe I was. But you know what? That's the standard you have to live up to when you're making this movie that's supposed to be, quote unquote, the Batman we've all needed. Well,
let's talk about the other skeleton in the closet. And we got the unreleased scene of the Joker from that movie. That performance was better than Paul Dano's performance as Riddler. I mean, granted, we only saw
Barry Keoghan, right?
Yeah, we only saw like a minute or two of it, so it's not a fair apples to apples comparison.
Well, and the deleted scene is even better.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The deleted.
Oh, gotcha.
And once again, hey, there's nothing wrong with Dano's performance. We're just saying, unfortunately, it's trying to measure up to all these things it can't measure up to, and part of that was Keegan's scene as a Joker that was deleted was, like I said, a better highlight, and everybody that watched the scene kept thinking to themselves, why didn't we have this character as the villain? Even though Joker's mad overdone, was still awesome, right?
Yeah. I like, part of me, it's one of those things that's like, oh, they're doing the Joker again, but it was also the same time I'm having also the same feeling of like, is that the Joker? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like double-edged sword. So but I have also said leave Batman alone for a little while.
Yeah, there's a disconnect also between comic book fans and movie fans, because comic book writers have been put in this quagmire, giggity, because they let comic book writers let the fans dictate what they want the story to be, and comic book fans demand that the Batman can never be beaten or outthought or lose hand-to-hand combat, and he's got to be et cetera, and therefore the only villain that can ever give him a threat is the Joker, and so they just keep using the Joker again and again and again and again. And if you're a comic book fan, you're sick of the Joker. Like, you wouldn't mind not seeing the Joker for a long, long time. And the movies are starting to get in that quagmire as well, because, of Heath Ledger's performance and Jack Nicholson's performance. And it's almost like, these villains are always measured to the Joker, or, Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze, which is the true GOAT. But
yeah, it's winter, but happening in Gotham.
Yeah. And then we won't talk about Jared Leto's Joker.
Everything is freeze. Cool.
Yeah. Jared Leto's Joker, is that the worst comic book villain performance of all time?
Hey, what's the word that Jim Carrey says in The Mask? What is it?
It is Jim Carrey.
Yeah, but what
smoking?
Smoking.
Yeah.
That's literally what I was thinking the entire time I'm watching Jared Leto. Every time he speaks, it's like, God.
He even got his hair looking like Jim Carrey, Yeah.
And look, Jared Leto and House of Gucci, one of the best things I've ever seen, but not Joker. The concept, when they're writing it on paper, I see what they were thinking. Let's make him this like more of like a crime boss type deal. I get what you're going for, but the execution was not good.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of execution, I want to hit this story next because I just watched this trailer earlier. 65, 4 away from being nice. 65, a new movie star Adam Driver I knew nothing about until Bobo asked me if I watched the trailer, and it is a time travel space movie. We think it's time travel. Maybe there'll be a twist. Maybe
time travel or dimension or sort of interstellar type stuff. I don't know.
Right. So basic bones of the plot as we get from the trailer. A guy is in space, traversing through space with his crew who are on ice, and he ends up hitting potentially a wormhole and somehow winding back up in the past where dinosaurs roam. And it's basically future weapons versus dinosaurs. F yeah. Listen, this movie might suck, but I know that the child in me wants to watch it badly. Baba, what are your thoughts on 65?
Look, it's one of those things that Jurassic Park, first off, awesome concept, progressively done worse every time, except for maybe the exclusion of Jurassic World, the first reboot. But even then, they just progressively got worse after that. So the concept of like people having to deal with dinosaurs is cool. You just have to find the avenue to get them in that spot. So as soon as Jurassic Park came out, you had so many movies that were coming out straight to DVD at Blockbuster, stuff like that, Raptor this or whatever, or, Raptor Rex, but some there's genetically monster created in a lab and it's just like in a city or something, just super cheeseball. But when they do something like this to where it does look like it's actually going to have something that could work, having an actor like Adam Driver behind it and having sort of this vibe of this feel of like Predator almost, having that feel when you're watching the trailer.
Right.
I love the concept of people and dinosaurs because dinosaurs are like the OG monsters, man.
I agree. And you do make a good point when you talk about the last Jurassic Park movies being trash. And so it does look intriguing. However, Bobo, I got to ask, would it be more intriguing if Adam Driver landed on a mysterious planet that ended up being the past and he ended up interacting with the dinosaurs from the old TV show?
What they like
the Not the Baby dinosaur?
That dinosaurs TV show.
I would watch the hell out of that
mama.
show. Yeah, not the mama. Thank you, not the mama.
Yeah,
dude, I would watch the hell out of that show. That show was mad underrated. Listen, I don't know if that show's available on Netflix or streaming or on DVD or whatever.
It's somewhere.
But bruh, you want to talk about some classic TV? It don't get better,
dude. I can't believe that show is even on. Now that I think about it, like that was something that people tuned into prime time for. Maybe not Thursday night prime time, but I think it was on like Sunday or Monday night.
Do you remember how that show ended?
No,
it ended with the extinction of the dinosaurs. Like they actually had, and I think the dad somehow ended up being responsible for the meteor hitting and killing off all the dinosaurs. They actually ended it with them dying.
So it was sad.
A sitcom, yeah.
So, but okay, it was a sitcom, but there was no laugh track, right?
No, but it was hilarious.
I don't remember any of the comedy, and I feel like if I rewatched it now, it would be terrible.
I would do a lot of. Listen, I've come to your house. You watch network TV. You watch a lot of terrible. This man was watching the Kelly Clarkson show, trying to play it off like he doesn't watch it every day. But then, like when people are coming on, he's like, "Oh, that guy, he's my favorite guy." Blah blah.
No. Look, I have NBC on because I'm just a TV on in the background
because
type of guy.
Kelly Clarkson
I'm constantly I don't have it on just so I can just. Oh, you ready for Kelly Clarkson? Is it been on sometimes? Of course it has. But same thing with Ellen. It was on.
I swear to God, sometimes. He was recording it. I swear to God.
On my TiVo?
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of, let's just since I mentioned Ellen, let's mention this just to pay some respects. I'm sure everybody knows about this, but man, we lost old Twitch, man. Stephen Boss, the terrible. I apparently it was suicide. So left field. Had no clue he was even dealing with any issues or any, had that, that problem on that burden on his shoulder. So man, just wanted to say sorry about that, guys, and the family condolences. It's hardcore, heart goes out to y'all. I know that's a terrible thing to deal with. I'm not trying to be a downer, but I actually have dealt with that in my family. That's how my old man went out. And so I'm totally dealt with that. And it's been a long time ago, but still, that can be very confusing for the family. It's really rough. So my heart goes out to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I got to be honest. I didn't know who the guy was because I don't watch Ellen. And I'm not trying to be funny, but when I saw Twitch dies on my Twitter, I automatically thought about the streaming platform. Right. But then going and reading about this guy, a lot of people did love this guy. Of course, Ellen DeGeneres had a lot of fans. My brother, who's a stand-up comedian, will tell you she's a beast as far as comedy is concerned. She's hilarious. I know she had some controversy earlier in the year. Apparently, she doesn't treat her people well. But
I think that was more isolated to a department that she wasn't aware of things going on, and there was another person in charge. And
people
she
go
fired
back and
those
forth
people.
on that. People go back and forth on that. That being said, regardless, like you said, this is a tragedy. And you know, sometimes people, if you're feeling lonely, it's okay to ask for help. People are there to talk to you, man. You know, when you leave in that manner, all it does is hurt the people closest to you that you don't want to hurt in the first place. And so, you know, if you're feeling that way, man, you're not alone. Go out there and talk to somebody.
And somebody's willing to talk to you. I promise you, somebody's willing to help you get away from those feelings.
Yeah. Or come on here, live stream, and chat with us. You know, we're always here to be friends with you.
Hey,
so.
That ain't no joke, man. We're for real.
Speaking of which,
come over here and hang out.
We got any comments? We want to go ahead and catch up on some comments?
Unfortunately, no. We've gotten a couple people coming in and out as far as attendance wise, but no comments right now. It's been a low comment day, you know.
Dang. It's probably because it's late start time.
It could have been that, you know. So sorry, guys, about that. It very, very well could have been that.
Yeah.
But hey, if you're tuning in later, thank you and love you.
Yeah. Well, listen, you know, so what didn't have a lot of views that I watched the premiere of live. It's a trailer that I'm very excited about. The greatest Spider-Man movie of all time. Maybe the greatest comic book movie of all time. It's right up there with Iron Man. You go back and forth. I'm talking about, of course, Into the Spider-Verse. And I am talking more specifically about its sequel. The trailer just dropped and it was a fire. It was so lit. Bobby, what are your thoughts?
Oh, dude. I think I texted you right away. It looks incredible. And I think I said effing incredible. Mm-hmm. Actually with the asterisks and everything in the text, but then you immediately text me back facts.
Yeah.
And it does, man. Like I know the guys, I don't know them, I'm saying, but I know that these guys behind this, they've already proven that they have love for this franchise, this world of characters of the Spider-Man that they're dealing with. And they tried to market Into the Spider-Verse kind of, but they marketed it more in movie theaters. I didn't see it like blasted everywhere until after it got hot and everybody was loving that movie. And then you started seeing Miles Morales shirts pop up everywhere. You and I knew who Miles Morales was way before this movie came out, which is why we were excited about it when it came out. But I didn't know it was going to be as good as it was. I felt like I was watching a living, breathing comic book with score to it. I mean, that's the best way I can describe that movie. Like the best comics I've ever read and that feeling that I've had, it's like I took acid and that came to life.
No, they did that very much on purpose. I watched some featurettes and they very much designed the animation to look like a comic book. Like even it's got like, you can see the dots and the colors made on purpose. Right. So yeah, a phenomenal movie. One of the best movie watching experiences I've had in a long time. I watched
the music, dude.
Oh yeah. I watched the movie multiple times and I'm excited for the sequel. It was an awesome story, man. And I'm so hyped to see the sequel. I've been waiting for a long time. You know, the only reason this movie makes me feel kind of conflicted is Avi Arاد's part of this movie, you know, and I'm so used to bashing on him for his Spider-Man choices. It crosses my wires up that he's actually a part of this, something that happened that's good from the Sony Spider-Man universe, because it's been a long time since we could say that.
Well, he was a part of Spider-Man 1 and 2. And,
right.
And
he was part of the animated series,
yeah,
the original animated series, that 90s Spider-Man animated series that so many of us grew up with. And
the new animated series, I don't know if you saw, it was only one season, but it was all CG, but it was pretty badass.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's been a few since then. I think the newest one was Spectacular Spider-Man. No. There was one after Spectacular Spider-Man, because Spectacular Spider-Man was pretty decent. But there was one, Disney redid a lot of their animation. You know, a bit early 2010s, there was the Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which was a fire cartoon, and Spectacular Spider-Man, which is good. But then they decided they wanted to get a little bit more kid-friendly, and so they made them a little bit more childish toys.
I mean, I get it, but I don't. It always bums me out when they do that.
There's a great interview with the creator of the Static animated series, which I never watched, but a lot of people speak very highly of. And they try to kind of get him on a conversation about how it was unfair that the cartoon got canceled because it was so highly acclaimed. And he basically spits them on game and says, listen, here's the reality of the situation. Animation is extremely expensive. And if you are a producer that is paying or investing in a cartoon, you need the toys to sell in order to make money. Otherwise, you will lose your ass. And when the toys weren't selling, of course it's going to get canceled, because nobody wants to be an investor in a project that's losing or hemorrhaging money. That's just the reality of the situation. Right.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you the smartest thing they did with this movie outside of just franchising merchandising toys and stuff like that is that they got a ton of girls on board with Spider-Gwen.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know a lot of girls who truly like are all the Spider-Gwen toys at their house,
Yep.
Spider-Gwen birthday parties. You know what I mean? Like it's truly getting into younger and younger and younger girls where it used to just be little boys. You know?
Right.
Hey, we got some comments right here from Andrew Edwards. I just want to address these before we get too far away from it. WW84 felt like super. Oh, not that one. Sorry. Is it possible for Adam Driver in a good sci-fi movie?
Shots fired at Star Wars. Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah. Hey, look, Force Awakens, good. Last Jedi, I like.
I did too.
The last one, that's terrible.
Let me tell you, the hardcore Star Wars fans want to murder me every time I say I like The Last Jedi. Like I feel like I have to hire bodyguards if I go around and say that.
No question. I bet you Andrew Edwards is going to come in and be like, "You guys are crazy."
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Or he might come over with a gat and try to off us because hardcore Star Wars fans cannot handle the fact that Luke Skywalker was old and bitter in that movie, and they wanted to see Luke Skywalker come in, just start slicing people up. The man is like 70 years old.
I loved the route they took with the character.
I did too.
I didn't like that he was just so like, I would have rathered him just be like kind of just reluctant, but instead he was right away. He's like, "You don't know what you're talking about." And it's like, well, hang on, buddy. You were that guy in the New Hope that didn't know anything. So maybe just listen to her. I just would have liked him to be not so crotchety. You know
what I liked about that movie? It subverted my expectations, and so I like the fact that he made all these changes with plot points that kind of surprised me because I'm pretty good at guessing what happens with movies, and sometimes I like to be surprised. With that being said, I can kind of understand people's frustrations if you're looking forward to this trilogy, looking forward to solve these mysteries about whose Rey's parents are or who Snoke is, and this guy just pulls the rug out from under you on every single surprise. I can get why you'd be annoyed. Yeah. I just was surprised, so I liked it. But from a storytelling perspective, logically speaking, it was a poor choice, and it was a selfish choice that he made. And so, yeah, I mean, he deserves to be taken to task for that. But some of the changes about Luke and stuff, come on, nerds, we got to quit crying. We got to quit being crybabies. We got to grow up a little.
I liked it. I thought it was all very cool, and I bought it, and it felt like something that's a new Star Wars movie, not another rinse and repeat.
I think we can all agree that at the end of the day, we can all join hands and agree on the fact that the Rise of Skywalker was trash. Yeah, it was horrible, right? It was one of the worst movies I ever watched.
I remember being halfway through. First off, I remember when they said Exegol, I was like, that's silly. And then when they actually get to all the Star Destroyers in the sky that are just made, and the Emperor's alive, and he's got these little weird henchmen, and I'm like, what? How did all this happen?
Yeah.
Remember how long it took to build the Death Star?
Yeah.
And now he's got all this shit.
Like, why did you need Snoke if it was going to be like this?
Yeah.
Also, I heard all the rumors about George Lucas wanted the Jedi to be black, and Patty Jenkins switched to female and decided to appease him by making two Jedis. And then you see what happens to Finn's character.
You mean Kathleen Kennedy?
Kathleen Kennedy.
You said Patty Jenkins.
Patty Jenkins, yeah. Kathleen Kennedy. Same thing. Same difference. Kathleen Kennedy wanted to be female, so she ended up splitting the Jedis. And Finn's character really takes it in the shorts, and it's never more apparent than when we see in The Rise of Skywalker, all he wants to do is tell Rey something, and he never even gets a chance. Like, that's how far the character's fallen. He can't even complete a sentence by the time the trilogy ends. Like, my man really took in the shorts. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I can understand why John Boyega wants nothing to do with Star Wars after that. He got shafted. He was going to be a main character. He ends up being a side character. Then barely ends up being a side character.
He was the selling point of the original trailer for Force Awakens.
And then by the end of it, on top of that, he got to deal with fans acting like it's all his fault. So.
No, it definitely wasn't. John Boyega is a good actor too.
Yeah.
If you don't think so, for some reason, this is terrible. Sorry, John Boyega. I'm drawing a blank on the name of the movie, but the one where it's the true story about the
Detroit,
the vet where he robs the bank, but he's like a retired veteran.
Yeah.
Dude, talk about, like, first off, he's British, and he plays an English or like an American accent in Star Wars. And then when you see him in this other movie, it's like a total different American accent. I'm just saying, like, he's a good actor, and so I'm hoping that he gets the credit he deserves. Andrew Ebers says that Last Jedi is a bit of an abomination. Took the main characters and one by one ruined them. Oh yeah,
See, that's the general thought. People just love those characters. But
and he agrees with you on Finn. Started in Last Jedi, wasted character.
Exactly. Yeah, man. But in The Last Jedi, that's the one thing I do not like about The Last Jedi is Finn basically is doing a video game side quest. It feels like a video game side quest. So
him and the girl, and then they meet up at the But
Kelly Tran, is that her name?
Yeah,
Kelly?
And it's nothing to do with her and her performance. She's fine. It's the fact that their little banter back and forth, and they're like, but no, and then they're trying to fool each other and convince each other, and it just feels like you said a side quest.
Though, you know what? Geeks and Gamers needs to thank God for that movie, because I know they hated on that movie, but that made them rich.
That made their channel.
Yeah, they're now incredibly rich because of that movie, and now they're part of the red pill space, talking about how they're mad at girls. And hey, whatever works, right? We don't want to be that channel, but I mean, if we're making as much money as they are, maybe we'll be that channel, guys. So just kidding. Moving on, though, let's talk about something interesting. We didn't have this on the run sheet. I brought this up last second. But let's say, what can we call this segment? Let's say, do you smell the lies The Rock is cooking?
Okay.
Because The Rock has been accused of lying. So recently, if you follow our videos, and if you don't, you should need to hit that notification bell. You need to hit the subscribe button, because what are you doing, right?
Yeah, come on, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. So we reported, well, not that we reported, we talked about a report where the Black Adam was looking like it was going to lose money, and that put a sequel in jeopardy, and made us all sad because we were all excited about that final scene with him and Superman. Spoiler alert. Then another report came out from Deadline saying, hey, listen, what are you guys talking about? Black Adam is not going to lose money. In fact, it might even make a little money. Here's a balance sheet to prove it. And we thought it was interesting. We thought, oh, well, how does that happen? How do a bunch of insiders get that wrong? Well, it turns out they might not have gotten wrong, because now Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is accused of misleading, or at least his people are accused of misleading Deadline and feeding them false numbers in order to get that report published. And most insiders are saying that the movie will indeed not turn a profit. Bubba, what do you make of all this? Who's lying? Who's telling the truth?
I think that, I don't want to say The Rock is lying, but I think that the movie did not make money just because nobody's talking about it. You didn't hear anything about, like, they're still talking about Wakanda Forever on the news about how it's topping, even though it's still going down in sales, it's still making money and still hitting some records.
Mm-hmm.
And that just was never talked about with Black Adam, not even the opening weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And none of my friends are talking about it. And at least look, Wakanda Forever had performances in it that were award worthy,
right?
Hence Angela Bassett being nominated, other things being nominated. There was nothing about this movie that just offered that. We were saying earlier, it's not bad. It's not like, oh, look at this piece of crap.
Right.
It's not that. It just, we don't think that necessarily The Rock on his own has this sort of star power, and the Black Adam character, nobody really cares in a world full of superhero movies.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. I don't think people care about Black Adam. I mean, The Rock has proven that he can. I think the only reason it made $65 million its opening weekend is because of The Rock. Let's put it that way. And you know, if this star power is falling, all he has to do is go back to the wrestling ring and do a match. I think I'm pretty confident now he's going to be in WrestleMania wrestling Roman Reigns because of Black Adam bombing.
There's been a bunch of buzz about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Black Adam bombing has just sealed that deal because he needs a little injection. But, I mean, at the end of the day, he can always go behind the camera. I do think it's interesting because Rock is a guy that you never really hear anything negative about. Like, I mean, we all know he does steroids, but nobody cares. And outside of that, he's the nicest guy ever, and everybody says nothing but great things about him. And this is the first time we've ever heard a really negative article about him. I mean, you can go back to the stuff he used to do in the WWE in the 2000s and, you know, draw some controversy if you really want some clickbait stuff about how, you know, that stuff does not hold up to today's standards as far as talking about women, etc. But nobody even does that because people genuinely love The Rock. And this is the first time I can remember some people even saying anything remotely accusatory towards his character. So I did think that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's interesting. And he's, the whole steroids thing. Yeah, I mean, look, you're not that big at that age and not juicing somehow. But the
Yeah.
difference is that he's not in a professional competitive sport where he's competing against a bunch of other people that are expected not to have drugs in their system. This is for entertainment purposes
Right.
only. So do your thing. I don't
Yeah.
give a shit. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
mean, I feel bad for you because you're taking some years off your life, you know, but that's the other thing. The Rock recently, I was watching some Joe Rogan stuff, and there was a guy on there talking about how The Rock is longevity is quote unquote his thing. It's like, but if you're staying that big, that old, like you're shaving years off your life, man. Longevity is not what you're after. But do I think that The Rock, you know, let me get to these comments right here because it's fitting right into what we're saying. Andrew's saying The Rock is a shameless self-promoter. I mean, he definitely self-promotes.
Come on, Andrew.
I think that if you're in that industry, you got to self-promote.
Yeah.
And then, but he follows it up with not in a good or bad way. It's just who he is.
Okay, got you.
Yeah. So
I mean, yeah, he's a wrestler.
Yeah, he is. But for him to go so far as to try to, I'm just going to say this from somebody who doesn't have money and somebody who's not in that industry yet, it does look a little desperate to make a fake. If you made a fake story up.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it might be his people, right? He
It
might
could
not
be.
really have anything. And that's the report is his people fed the false
This
numbers.
is true too. We always have to remember that
Right.
there's a lot more than just one person behind these comments.
Right. He might have had a green light. He might not have known about it. Who knows, right? He did retweet it. So he either is complicit or believes it. And that kind of is a bad look. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what it means for the future of The Rock. We'll see what it means for the future of Black Adam. Probably not good things, though, if I had to guess. And
well, again, like I said, I'd be very surprised if he just disappears in the DCEU, but I don't think he's getting another movie. I think he'll just be in certain things and major battle parts, or he'll show up to like save the day as a cameo or something like that. You know what I mean? And maybe him and Superman will have a movie at some point or something going on in a movie to tie up that little cameo at the end. But I do think that they're not going to flagship this character.
he could just do another Fast and Furious movie that nobody wants.
Well, I wonder if this means that he'll join Fast and Furious 10.
I don't know. But speaking of sequels that nobody wants, Ghostface Killer's back.
Oh boy, you know what's funny is nobody wants it, but after this trailer, I'm like, well, I'm there. I'm going to see it. But it's just another horror movie. You know, at this point, it's not. I'm not expecting to go to these things and being like, bro. Now look, maybe it can pull me in like that. Maybe it can. But first off, no Nev Campbell because they wouldn't pay her enough.
Mm-hmm.
And
how much is she commanding these days? What is she up to that she needs a big paycheck?
well, here was her deal though. She was in the Lincoln Lawyer recently was the show, and it got well received.
She was in a TV show. That's what I'm saying. Like, how expensive can Nev Campbell be right now?
No, but she is Scream. I mean, she's the main character of Scream, and apparently they devalued her pretty hardcore. And look, the last Scream was a big success. So I think as a business,
Didn't watch it, man.
I didn't like it. It was a big success though, and it was well received, but I didn't like it. But overall, am I excited about this? I'm excited to go see another fun slasher Scream movie with Ghostface. Am I excited because I think it's going to be great? No. Am I hopeful? Of course I'm hopeful, but it's one of those ones where it's like, I hope it's good.
Man, you know what's funny is the original Scream was meant to be a parody of horror movies, and now Scream itself has become the parody, right? The Scream franchise itself is now what it made fun of. So I do think that is the try and true tested sign that you have overstayed your welcome as a franchise.
I agree. I think that I honestly, part 5 was coming out and I was like, man, I'm really curious to see are they going to do what they did with the Halloween franchise and like really serious up this thing and like change the stakes, change the pace, change the direction, all that. No, they made it more of what it was and also repeated a lot of stuff they did in part 4. And it was just like, yeah, I've already done this kind of, but hey, Andrew says to pay Nev. And I kind of agree with you. However, with seeing this trailer, first off, you recognize this guy on the left here, Anshul? He was the guy from She-Hulk, one of the lawyer.
Yeah, he was one of the
cool dudes.
He was one of the good parts of that show.
Exactly. Yeah, he was one of the good parts.
Everything outside of She-Hulk wasn't bad, honestly.
Look, her as an actor, she's good, but just the point and the whole content of the show. Yeah, the writers
one of the worst written shows ever.
Yeah. But so back to Scream. One of the things that this trailer does is just shows this scene where Ghostface is literally like they're looking at this guy in a Ghostface mask, but apparently it takes place on Halloween. And nobody knows the real plot of what's going on.
We know Jenna Ortega's in it, correct?
Everybody from the last movie except for Nev is in it. Now Courtney Cox is in this one, but they're in New York, and the whole thing with Courtney Cox is that she lives in New York, and that's where her talk show is, and you see that in the last movie. So it makes sense that she would meet up with him, and I understand it makes sense that they wouldn't need Nev to be in this, but she did turn it down. So we'll see how this goes. I'm excited to see this, but I'm not like I'm worried that it's just going to be another. If it's anything like the last one, I'm not going to be satisfied. So just had to talk about it though, because that teaser did come out today, and I'm a horror nerd. Anshul's not as much into the horror as me. It is definitely my favorite genre.
No, I'm not. But hey, transitioning real quick to something I just saw on Twitter. Guillermo del Toro has put out a couple tweets. First of all, he is also excited about the Into the Spider-Verse sequel, which I think is pretty fab, pretty cool. He also was talking about James Cameron's new Avatar sequel that we are seeing tomorrow.
Yeah, babe.
So you can tune in for a stream tomorrow after we watch the movie. We will stream, then we will drop a review after that.
I would say just to be safe, probably like an 8 o'clock stream, 8 o'clock Central Time.
Yep. Hopefully Windows doesn't have more updates planned.
Oh, God.
Get that pushed.
Anshul, he's just like a ninja star with those jokes.
Directors are too much like lone wolves. James Cameron says, adding, our pal Guillermo del Toro says that in Mexico, when somebody makes a film, all the other filmmakers gather around like a baby was being born. I think that's the way it should be. So obviously I misspoke. He was not speaking about Avatar. James Cameron was speaking about Guillermo del Toro. Just caught my eye. But I want to go ahead and throw out there because I know he's also excited about the Into the
Well, I'm looking forward to his Pinocchio because I pretty much liked everything that Gilmore's done except, and I said his name wrong, Guillermo. But the one thing that I didn't really care for was The Shape of Water. I just didn't dig it, man. I'm sorry. And I like you, Guillermo, as a director. I think you're good. I think you definitely know what you're doing. You understand cinema, but that just wasn't my favorite thing from you.
Okay.
But I love Hellboy and Hellboy 2. Hell yeah.
Let's
Blade 2, best one.
Yeah, let's put it out there. Baba does not like Guillermo del Toro. Aquaman 2. We had that as a listed show item, and honestly, I cannot remember why.
Well,
something about the budget.
Well,
right?
They were talking about it was also involved with that same thing with Pattinson maybe joining the crew of the DCEU and maybe some big changes. And the whole idea is that are they going to switch? Or the whole idea of the article was, are they going to switch Aquaman and lose the $15 million they've put into this last movie, this newest movie coming out, Aquaman 2, and also not go forward with Aquaman 3 simply to switch the character to Lobo?
Yeah, I mean, is it 1996? Do we really need a Lobo movie?
Look, I understand that he looks like him, but yeah, I'm with you. Do we need a Lobo movie?
Yeah, I feel like there's a bunch of 45-year-old guys, people my age, that are, yeah, Lobo's the best. But really, I'm interested in what people younger than us.
I think I think he was a fan favorite.
He was very 90s, man.
But it was I think he was a trendy fan favorite. Yeah, you know what I mean?
He was designed to be Wolverine, and like DC always does, they got to make him super powerful and almost invincible, godlike, etc.
But a lot of comic book characters gain a reputation not for the good reasons, and so maybe Lobo's gained that reputation that way. Everybody knows him, but it's like, he's kind of a man character.
Yeah, I mean, it screams 90s, man. Like, listen, this is back in the day when Stone Cold and The Rock were popular, talking about poontang pie every week, right?
Oh boy, drinking his Busch non-alcoholic beer on stage.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that where they show the stills and and it says NA on the can? It's like, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So. I don't know how that character would do now. I can understand why he likes that character because he's in the same age group that we are, and he does kind of look like him. And Aquaman was trash. You don't believe so, but I do. Aquaman, all right, let's do this. I'm rolling up my sleeves. We're about to throw down for Aquaman. I feel like we've done this before, but you know what? There can never be enough Aquaman fights.
Yeah, look, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it again, man. Aquaman is exactly what I wanted it to be. It was entertaining, popcorn movie. Didn't want to take it too seriously. Didn't care about who died, who didn't die. I just was enjoying the visuals. It was kind of advertised as Avatar, but in the Aquaman world, I liked it. I liked the cheesiness of Dolph Lundgren being in it. I liked Willem Dafoe. I loved it all, man. I like the soundtrack. Mm-hmm. The only complaint, I thought they did a bad job with Black Manta. But other than that, I really enjoy the movie. Visually, I really had a good time with it. But I knew what I was expecting.
Let me tell you what Aquaman is. Aquaman is if Michael Bay did a superhero movie, and I mean that in the worst possible way. Aquaman is nothing but visual porn, okay? And even then, it may not be that good as far as being visual porn is. It's got no plot. It goes from plot point to plot point. It's like a video game. It's like he's got missions to do, and then he just goes and jumps and does them. The chemistry between him and Amber Heard is god-awful, okay? Let's not talk about Amber Heard because we know that can go a bunch of different
I
ways.
avoided talking about her.
But the chemistry is not there. She's absolutely horrendous in this role. He's fine in this role. Oh, it's versus, man.
Wow.
It's my turn. It's my turn, buddy. It's my turn. All right. And the biggest complaint of this movie, all right, is the ending of this movie. And I've said it a million times. I will say it again. The hero of this movie is Aquamom because Nicole Kidman's character solves the whole movie by basically lecturing her kids and threatening to ground them. That is the end of this movie. That is the lamest ending of a superhero movie I've ever seen. Period. You can't argue with me on that. Boys, quit fighting. Quit fighting. Don't make me come back there. Boys, stop. Okay, Mom. And then the movie ends. Trash. Trash. The movie is trash. Let us know what you think in the comments. Let us know who you think won that versus.
Okay. Oh, crap. I didn't do it in time. We'll do it, we'll do it anyway. I clipped the empty video clip, and so sorry.
Yeah, man. Bobo's not quick on the draw.
Yeah, my fault. Yeah, I got
she
no
said.
excuses. I got no
That's what she
excuses.
said. All right. So moving on to the next story, DC Studios' Tricky Road is what you have written down. What's here?
Well, that was us just kind of talking about Pattinson and Aquaman. So
Okay.
I'm just not sure what this news is about them. I'm not sure what they'll do. Do you feel like Matt Reeves is going to do the next Batman movie, or you think that they'll keep Pattinson, but do you think that Matt Reeves is going to do it?
Yeah, man, listen, one of the big problems I have with the Batman movie, and the reason I'm as hard on it as I am, I do think that there was very much potential for that movie.
Yeah.
Bobo, did you ever watch Entourage?
Oh, I own the whole series.
Do you remember when they do Medellin?
Oh,
And
Medellin.
then it airs and it bombs.
Yeah, it ruins his career almost.
Right. The producer buys it for $1. And why does he buy it for $1? He says there is genius in this movie. Right? That's why I felt with Batman. I felt like there was a lot of good in that movie. Just things need to be cut out. Things need to be added. They need to change the fight choreography because that was some of the worst fight choreography for a superhero movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, the best fight choreography you see is all in the trailer.
Yeah. And listen, man, Batman, you can do more than punch.
And I just don't. The whole opening of the film is this awesome scene with like them thinking he's in the shadows and stuff like that. And then the rest of the movie, none of the criminals know who he is. It's like, what? You just contradict the whole opening statement.
Yeah, plus he's too much of a buffoon. Like, I'm all about, like, let's not make Batman this Deus Ex Machina, why he's always invincible, but they just went too far with that. Like, he's the worst superhero ever in this movie.
And I understand it's supposed to be year 2, but it's not year 1.
It makes you wonder how he even got past year 1.
Now, what do you think about the fact that they're bleeding into the Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo run where they had the Broken City type thing or the
Court of Owls?
Well, but remember when the Riddler did it? Like, it's like the city had been drowned out and there's all this vegetation growing up, a dead city of Gotham.
No Man's Land?
No, it wasn't No Man's Land. It was Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. And it's remember when he had the backpack on, he was riding around with the motorcycle. He had this no sleeves on and shit. And so anyways, that is literally what he was doing at the end of the Batman by flooding the entire city.
Sure.
So I'm just curious as what you think of them do you think they'll go with Court of Owls at some point? Will Court of Owls show up?
Court of Owls is the greatest Batman story outside. The greatest in continuity Batman story I would say was Court of Owls. Although No Man's Land is right up there, man. No Man's Land is great.
I was talking to somebody today about Lincoln March. I was like, man, he is one of those villains that somehow or another way into the Batman mythos weaseled his way into the rogues gallery. Like he was a good, and I'm talking about the brother basically. And man,
that whole reveal of him becoming Owlman, that was great.
I agree, man. That was just really, that felt like when you were reading Batman as a kid, discovering these awesome villains. Like he belongs in the rogues villain.
It's so hard for these writers to come up with new villains, and when they do it, like it just blows my mind. A great guy that is on par with that, Jonathan Hickman. If you ever read any Marvel runs, make sure you buy his runs on. I think we've talked about this on Marvel Comics because he basically is able to write plant seeds in stories and then pick up runs on different comic book characters and then
Way,
plant those seeds
yeah.
off, right, way in the future. And Marvel lets him do it. You know, it's a lot of times as a writer, you might not get that leeway because honestly, you're not that good, and the writers know, or the, you know, the people at Marvel know. But with him, they just give him free reign, and he's allowed to do that. So, yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this Matt Reeves run. Like I said, there is potential for it to be a good movie, and to kind of go back to the point I was going to make. The reason I was bothered by all the people praising it is because I felt like he was getting too much praise when there were things that were that movie that were problems that need to be fixed, and I felt like those would be cast by the wayside because this movie was getting unnecessary praise. So,
yeah, you know, if you got a nice looking room that's just been remodeled, even if there's 14 karat gold on the crown molding, if somebody took a shit in there and it smells like shit, none of that matters. You know, like all you're doing is smelling the shit.
Okay, I'm not really seeing how the analogy stacks up, but okay, we'll let you go with that. So
the fact that you said that it just like screams 7 the whole time, it's like it's more of a 7 movie than a Batman movie, and that's all I can notice. It's almost like it overshadows.
I'm not trying to say that part of the movie is 2 girls, 1 cup. I don't know why you're doing all the all the references.
How about 2 wards, 1 cup?
Oh, nice.
Because you got Dick and Jason,
right?
Or Dick and Tim, whichever one you want to go with.
Well, there was no Jason and no Dick for sure in this movie.
Yeah.
Outside of Bruce, who was a dick.
Terrible. Look, and I think Robert Pattinson.
Your butler just almost died. He was in a coma. The first thing.
And you barely want to tell him that you even like him.
Yeah, he wakes up. He's like, "What'd you do? Shut up, man."
And like, I think Robert Pattinson is a good actor. He's really a good actor. But just the choices, and I think this was Matt Reeves' decision. The choice that they went with him being this just like, I don't even want to come out into daylight as Bruce Wayne, like he was this vampire. It just like, that's not Bruce Wayne. That's not how Batman and Bruce Wayne operate.
I feel like that's Robert Pattinson in real life. I feel like Robert Pattinson would be a moody, bratty guy in real life.
Well, whatever it is about Robert is, I like all the movies he's in, and I just...
Even Twilight?
Twilight gets a bad rap.
We're not even going to hit verses on this. Yo, comments, tear him apart for that. Please do.
I'm kidding.
He's not, though.
When I got divorced, I gave all those Twilight movies back to my ex-wife. That was the first thing I did. Is I sat down like Pride and Prejudice and all their fucking Twilight movies.
Did you guys fight about it in the divorce proceedings? Were you like fighting over who gets Twilight? Like you're fighting over your kids?
Yeah, I don't have any kids.
Right. So you're fighting over Twilight
instead? And you know, I just remember like her going out and me being driven away by the cops. And I was like, fuck Team Jacob and fuck Team Edward.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I've got that mental picture in my mind now.
Yeah, being drug away by like the authorities.
How dare you take away my Bella?
Yeah.
Is that her name in the movie?
Bella?
Kristen Stewart's name?
Bella?
Whatever.
I think so.
I've never watched them. I definitely haven't read the book.
Oh, I got the play-by-play when she was reading the books. That and the True Blood novels with the Sookie Stackhouse novels. Yeah, I got the play-by-play on all that shit when she was reading the books.
Man,
and Hunger Games.
I watched True Blood season 1. I liked. And then I kept watching True Blood and hating myself for watching it.
No. Season 1, great. Season 2, still good. The immediate
the meatheads, come on.
As soon as season 3 started, though, it was just like y'all went way off the rails. And they only use like the first 2 books, and even then, Lafayette gets killed in the books. He's the toenails you see in the card. That's Lafayette in the books.
Yeah,
but they loved him for the show, so they had to keep him on there, which he was great.
I read the wikis because I got curious to see if I get any spoilers for the show. And it takes a big turn for the books. I think Sookie is not the main focus of all the books. Am I correct? It's called the Southern Vampire Tales, if I remember correctly.
Well, there's the Sookie Stackhouse stories starting it off, but then the whole other world spins off from that.
Yeah,
and it doesn't necessarily.
See how much he knows about these books, people.
Because
my wife was reading them. I swear,
she gave me the play-by-play.
She gave me a play-by-play, and I may have read them back to back.
Well, look, that's going to do it up for the show today, guys. I'll let you finish it off there.
Yeah, well, you know what? Hey, I want to thank you guys for joining us again. Bobo, do we have any comments we want to hit up before we get off?
No, honestly, that was it, man. No more. Oh, he says tiebreaker, Aquaman, solid popcorn entertainment.
All right. Fair enough. Hopefully we'll get more comments that will let Bobo know that his opinion on Aquaman is trash.
Okay.
But this is the type of high quality entertainment you will get only by hitting that subscribe button.
Hell yeah.
Hit that notification bell so you can be notified when we do these again. And again, we're going to make this a regular thing. Monday and Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, unless Windows has something to say about it.
That's not a regular thing, though.
Right, it's not a regular thing. No. It might be, though. No, it's not. We're going to do these on time every time so we can make sure to get you guys on board. But you know what? You don't have to watch it live with us. You can always comment down below afterwards. We would love to see more comments from you guys. Of course, Bobo has banners up. Clap and congrats to Bobo for that.
Yeah, did a good job this time.
Down below where I'm pointing at those web addresses, Shogun of Cinema, Twitter and Instagram, Facebook.com/BrassReel, and of course, the Patreon.com/BrassReel and TikTok. We only got a couple TikToks up.
Yeah, but you never know. TikTok might be going away right now. They're all trying to mess with it.
Yeah, well, we got YouTube Shorts that we'll be posting.
YouTube
we got a lot of content.
Yeah, that's actually going to be doing really big in February. They're actually doing ad sharing in February. So.
Right, and also we will be doing a live stream on Avatar tomorrow.
The Way of Water.
The Way of Water.
Thinking around 8 o'clock is when it's going to be, but I just want to make sure we have time to get back from the movie because I'm pretty sure it's going to be a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, also, we might want to read up on Pocahontas and maybe we'll find out what the movie's about early. I think I heard somebody on, by the way, I heard Jeremy Johns say that people called it something about the Smurfs, which I thought was really funny.
Yeah, that's about 13 years too late on that joke, though.
Yeah. I mean, he was talking about the first Avatar movie, though.
Oh.
But yeah, we'll go ahead and give you our thoughts on it. Then we'll post a full review. That'll be coming up, and we'll have a lot more coming your way. Once again, thank you for your patronage. And just remember, man, to go back to our conversation about Twitch. When life gives you lemons, don't fret. Don't fret.
Make some hot, fresh popcorns.
Peace.
Peace.